sure he will score a lot of goals for us. I'm not in doubt. He got all the qualities, the way we want to play, the principles I have. The goal scorers are normally produce number nines. He will do the same. I'm not in doubt of that at all. So it feels a little bit like a new signing, and he will only get better the next weeks.
Thomas Frank with 5 Lives, George Cummins. It's interesting, Lucy, because I can understand why George prefaced his question there with, I'm not asking you to compare him to Harry Kane. However, if we're kind of using Thomas Frank's own words there about he gets the ball and you think he's going to score, well, they probably haven't had somebody who you would think that about since Kane.
Yeah, they haven't. And I think when your defenders are your primary scorers, then that's a red flag, just simply because it isn't sustainable. It means that something's wrong further up the pitch. And I think Solanke coming back offers a little bit of structure. So he leads the press. He can do all that. He can lead the press, he can link play, he can score. Obviously, he's a presence against centre-backs. But I think it's just they just haven't had that sort of forward line. They've been very unlucky with injuries, and I know a lot of teams have, but it has really affected Thomas Frank going into Spurs, and I think you can't view what he's done, Thomas Frank, at Spurs, until he gets those players back.
That's interesting, actually, because I think throughout this season for Spurs, like, firstly, their home record is astonishingly bad, you know, considering, like, the home advantage is supposed to be a thing. But I think throughout the year as well, we've seen, in some ways, almost like a lack of creativity.
Yeah.
Like, if it was more so a case of, you know, you're seeing the likes of Richarlison and others missing lots and lots of big chances, then, yeah, I think the return of Solanke you can almost, like, just plug and play and say, yeah, this means they would have scored maybe 4, 5, 6 more. But I wonder how Frank views him in terms of trying to be more creative, because he mentioned the hold-up play and the press. Like, if you... Sorry, I'm going to attack some people here. Lazy attackers.
Go on.
Are you showing off?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
No, lazy attackers, for me, are some of the worst people to play with.
Yeah.
Because if they work harder, they will get more chances, and the ball will be closer to the goal when they win it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So from when he's talking about, say, Solanke being a better presser, then maybe that's where some of the chance creation will come. But it sort of makes you wonder beforehand, like, why is it that they've not been able to create as much as, say, we thought they would do with the talent that they have?
It's a good point. I think there's probably a lack of creativity in this squad anyway. Without Maddison, without Kulusevski, I think Odegaard is becoming good now, and probably I would expect him today, like against Frankfurt in midweek, to come inside a little bit more than playing just as a pure winger. Same with whoever plays on the other side. Yeah. But Solanke, I think, could help massively in bringing in those players, which I don't think Kolo Muani and Richarlison could do, because they're not those kind of number 9s.
So how does he do that?
Because I think the linker play that Luce and Ned mentioned, and Thomas Frank too, to be fair, I think is a massive part of what Solanke can do, but what Wissa could do, of what did at Brentford under Thomas Frank as well. And you bring Mbomo in, and you bring Shadow in. Whereas Richarlison and Kolo Muani, as much as I love him, Paris born and bred, as you know, doesn't bring anybody in apart from himself. This is it, really. And I think this is when you need, maybe because you don't have enough creativity from a number 10, let's say, and that's why they wanted Paqueta. They called Paqueta's agent in this transfer window to try to see if they could hijack that move from Flamengo and bring him to Spurs. If you don't have that, then I think your number 9 becomes even more an important key in that puzzle, or piece in that puzzle.
I don't think he'll fix everything, Solanke, obviously, but they'll look more like a team rather than a collection of little moments everywhere. And I think that, you know, I agree with what Jules says about bringing others into play.
Is there, Nedim, a slight concern, or maybe a big concern for Solanke now, in that whether or not it affects him is obviously going to be completely individual, and every player is different. But how important is this period for him now, given he's had these recurring ankle injuries? Because presumably if you then get another one, are you sort of straying into the territory of how much can I absolutely 100% trust my own body?
Is he in his mid to late 20s?
28, yes. Turned 28 September.
But I love the fact he's good to go.
How on earth does Jules know that?
I'm just
Jules
here.
knows
I'm just here for
everything.
you. I'm here to help you too.
Yeah,
you know,
thank you.
are
I
the
appreciate
expert.
that.
Omniscient being Julian Laurent. I think